Well, greetings everyone, and welcome to a special episode, kind of a hybrid between Inside Movies Galore with Dave here and myself for SeptumSin versus the World, a continuation of our discussion of the great film, the classic The Goonies. And we have with us some very special guests all the way around. So we've got, I'm just going to start up and go down. We've got Mo here from Drunken Master Studios. We've got, of course, Dave Streggy, the founder of Inside Movies Galore, and amongst other things. We've got Dane Kyle, a director in his own right, and a indie horror film creative there. Of course, we have Wet Movie One with us, who has a channel with... that inspired me to do my own channel, one of the major inspirations. So very much glad to have you with us tonight.
A living legend.
No, I'm just a fat nerd laying on his bed watching
From Parts Unknown, you know. Yeah. That's it. You should adopt that shit too.
And of course, last but not least, hide in the corner over there is Kotobuki Jake, who is my co-host, and he has his own channel, which we will one day see an episode from, I hope, his nature channel. Like I say, you need to go all Coyote Peterson and just have like a lot of things bite and sting you on the air, and you'll get,
dude, I say we combine the Coyote Peterson like get bit and sting by shit formula with like the Grumpy Oji-san thing where you wander through the desert and review anime. But I think what you should do is do it after you've been bit and stung by the stuff. You know what I mean?
Just like
yeah, so it's like just delirious like fever dream anime reviews in the desert.
Damn it, that's worse than watching Sin City.
So we've actually heard from most of the people here, except for two of y'all, about the Goonies. And actually, why don't we start with you, What Movie One, with the Goonies? It's I'm going to guess that seeing it this last couple of weeks, I'm sure it was not your first time seeing the film. I would just assume. So what was your first experience like?
Well, the first time I ever saw it was in at my old babysitter's house when I was a kid, and she only had like 3 or 4 movies recorded off of television that, you know, me and my sister were able to watch at the ages that we were. It was like Look Who's Talking, and The Goonies was one of them. And she popped it in one. I think you guys might like this. It's pretty much like to shut us up because, you know, when they're young, we're kind of annoying and always jumping around. And as soon as she put that one in, that and, you know, Look Who's Talking, me and my sister, or mostly me, just shut the hell up for the rest of the time. And every time we got babysat after that, we always watched it over and over again every time we went there.
Dude, I will say that bathroom scene in Look Who's Talking, where that toilet is like talking about chomping on his pee-pee, that messed me up as a kid. Like, I couldn't go to the bathroom for a solid 2 months without like an escort because I thought I was gonna get my pee-pee chomped onto some angry toilet, you know.
It sounds like a trauma movie or something.
Yeah.
That'll be a new horror movie in itself, just like Mr. Toilet Man, the movie.
That was the original Death Toilet. Yeah.
Him versus that friggin' furnace from Home Alone, man. That'd be a crazy ass movie right there.
So what about you, Dane? You saw it most recently out of all of us. So what's your first experience?
So, not to age anybody, but I'm probably also the youngest person here as well. So like I was a late 90s, early 2000s kid. I was born in 91. So any kind of like 80s classic kind of growing up with those, you know, it had to be done kind of retrospectively if it was done at all rather than like at the time. So in other words, like one of the few that did kind of make it through was Back to the Future. But like I'm thinking of like a lot of the ones that were kind of seminal classics of the period I didn't really grow up with until late. I didn't really see until later. And this was one of them. And I think part of it was my parent. Well, it was kind of a couple things. One, I was lucky enough to be a kid in the Disney Renaissance era. So we had plenty of then current movies that were like tip top quality, number one. So I was just blessed to be a kid at that time. Number two, my parents really loved movies that were a lot older than that. And so I grew up with stuff from the 30s, 40s, 50s, all this stuff. And very thankful for it. And, so it was that. But then also, I think another element to it is that, like, some kids, like, their entire childhood was Looney Tunes. And I watched enough Looney Tunes to get the point. But, like, a lot of it, I think, came down to the fact that my dad, who homeschooled me, and my brother was very intolerant of noise. And I think at that time you had a lot of stuff that was particularly noisy. And so one of the critical complaints that I remembered hearing about the Goonies was that I think then, like at the time, contemporary reviews and now somewhat, but not as bad as it was then, was just the noise level that the kids were like really just wouldn't shut the fuck up. And I could definitely see where they were coming from, but it didn't like kill the movie for me. But I could understand my dad. Like my dad had a problem with like Mary Poppins, in terms of just it getting on his nerves. So I mean, you have to like put it into perspective. But anyway, so that's. Well, I mean, I make it sound like I'm deprived or whatever. I make it sound like I was deprived or whatever. But I think very much to the contrary. Like I watch stuff that most kids don't ever see, even when they're adults. So I mean, I was thankful for that. But I also there were certain things I didn't watch until later. But at the same time, you can like appreciate them on different levels. Like, for example, I specifically liked Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory when I saw it when I was like maybe a teenager, early college or something. I specifically enjoyed it because of how fucked up it was and how I enjoyed it as
well, that's fair enough. So I take it you didn't get to see Goonies till you were like older.
Yeah, I was 20. I was like 23, 24, and that was because of a coworker of mine who was like a 40-something-year-old woman. So like she graduated high school.
Getting in there, getting them cougars, Dan. Is that what you're basically saying?
Very, very much the opposite. I'm afraid she had a very triangular-shaped body.
Missed opportunity. Sample all the flavors, as they say.
It was not my. Well, yeah, no. It was such that like he told me to see a bunch of different 80s classics that I had not seen, like that and Dirty Dancing and things like that. And so I saw it and glad to have seen it. It wasn't like, it's one of those things, there are certain movies that if you didn't really grow up with them, then you don't 100% see what the
I was hoping that argument would come up.
Well, but at the same time, like I get why it has its audience, and I can see the kind of children's adventure aspects, some of the Spielbergian aspects of it, even though he was just a producer and it was Richard Donner who directed it. I can see why it has its fan base.
Spielberg has a story by credit for the film, so he definitely had his hand on it.
Well, hey, what about you, Wet? WAM, motherfucker. What's your thoughts on this? Is this movie still hold up for you?
Yeah, I always watch it, especially I can watch it anytime and just like feel nostalgic and shit about it. Especially now, it's a little different since I've met some of the cast members and and I've been in 2 movies with them, cool. 2 cast members recently. I mean, they're not out yet or anything, but I never worked directly with them. I mean, I'm sort of in these things, cool. And they're there still. And I mean, it's kind of a different experience now watching it after, talking to like Sean Astin, right? And being in a movie with him, and being in a movie with Corey Feldman. It's kind of surreal as shit, especially since it's my favorite movie of all time.
Oh, I bet, dude.
And it's just kind of like, well, I'm talking to the Goonies right now, and I'm in movies with them, even though I'm just like an extra or have like a line or 2 or some shit. But like, it's still cool
exciting.
Yeah,
still cool to be there. You get like your Goonies clamshell signed by any of them or anything. You get like a.
Well, I have my poster signed by Feldman and Sean Astin over here.
That's
Nice.
dope.
I had to pay for it though, even though I probably
Yeah.
could have got them free if I went to one of the premieres with them or something. But whatever.
So where are you from, man? Like what state do you hail from? You know?
California, out here in Los
Oh,
Angeles.
okay, so you're West Coasting it out here with me.
Yeah.
The Goonies is an important film. It's one of those things I think to us, and especially to Oregonians, has an inherent like nostalgic quality, even if you don't like the damn movie. Like I know people who don't like the movie but are proud of the Goonies because it's there.
Well, and
honestly, if you don't like the Goonies, I'm a little suspicious of you as a human.
Well,
are you just some type of robot pretending to be human right now? Like,
I liked the movie. I wanted to make that clear. I didn't dislike the movie. I'm just saying it's like I feel more.
No,
I guess you'd say
there was no suspicion on my part, good sir.
Well, I guess I mean that it's sort of there are movies like that you feel sort of like, yeah, this is objectively a good film, and I see why it has its audience. It's just you're sort of dispassionate with it just because you didn't. It's more about like, did you grow up with it? Do you have the same shared experiences of other people? And it's like, well,
right.
When you kind of grew up in this heavily insulated environment that I grew up in, it's like your life experience is really skewed compared to that of most people.
Well, and also, I'll go ahead and interject here. And Dane, I talked about this on our big discussion, but I know you like to use the term. I think you like to use the term a grower. I guess for the ones that grew on you. This is one that I didn't grow up with either. I probably saw bits and pieces here and there, but even though my generation was the target generation, and everyone else in my high school like knew the movie, I don't think I was probably a senior in high school or in college when I saw it for the first time all the way through. I've probably only seen it 3 times all the way through. And I feel like every time I see it, I get more out of it. Like it is one that it really does grow on you, I think.
Dude, I think there's certain movies that fall into that category of like hitting that super delicious formula of 80s movies, you know what I mean? Where it's like you watch something like what's like Batteries Not Included, maybe. It's a movie I never saw as a kid, but then I eventually like started renting later as like a middle school. I was probably like out of the age range for the movie, but Batteries Not Included fucking rules. You watch it and it's like, man, I can immediately understand why this movie is a nostalgia movie for people. The moment Goonies kicks up and you see Chunk squish that shit against the window and there's that car chase and all that stuff and that theme kicks in, like immediately in that moment why it's a nostalgia movie for people, whether you've seen it before or not. And
I guess that's sort of where I'm coming from, is like there are movies that they are what they are because of that, and if you happen to fall outside of it, then you maybe don't fully understand the appeal. And it's one of those things where, like,
that, like Jake pointed out, is a grower. It is a
grower.
The more you watch it, I think, Dane, you'll become one of you'll probably be flying that Goonie flag out there eventually.
Well, again, I don't want to like make it seem like I disliked it or whatever, because I didn't. I'm just more saying as part of an overall phenomenon that I've observed, which is that 80s movies in particular, like that, people were nostalgic in the 80s. It's always a 30-year cycle. In the 80s, people were nostalgic for the 50s, and then in the 90s, they were nostalgic for the 60s, and then it was the 70s again, and then last decade it was the 80s again, and now it's going to be the 90s again. And and that's more my time period. But I'm like, because I was like with the 80s stuff, the 80s nostalgia kind of getting. Like there was a particular aggressiveness with which the nostalgia was kind of shoved down the culture's throat in comparison to the other ones. And I say that, but then I'm thinking of people younger than me, and I'm like, oh God, I feel so sorry for them. They're about to get 90s shoved down their throat, probably 10 to 20 times worse
Well,
than we got in the 80s.
almost every band that was touring in the 90s has gotten back together. So
Yeah.
they're
It's true, but I mean, I would argue again, outside of the Cyndi Lauperness, Goonies is one of those movies that kind of transcends some of that gimmicky nostalgia. Okay, when I watch the Goonies, it's nostalgic and still good because it holds up. When I watch like something like Breaking All the Rules, that's nostalgic because I was fucking 12 and they were blowing the girl's skirt up or something. It's not the same thing.
Or something. Another Spielbergian produced one was. Well, I think about it because it was in that triple pack of Goonies, Gremlins, and Gremlins 2. I think of like how Gremlins was really visually as a big homage to Frank Capra in like 40s, 50s kind of that kind of look, and yet it is always associated with the 80s because, well, it was an 80s movie. But that's a good example of how you can hit people's nostalgia buttons while also making a film that's timeless because it's rooted in a lot of different
there you go.
Time
and
periods.
That's basically the Goonies in a nutshell. Like they got
all
the fun stuff.
Or you do a unique thing like Back to the Future, and you like explicitly set it in periods of time.
Hey, Mike.
What's that, Brandon?
It's like I should know. I can't control this group, but Dave's been trying to
take
say
the reins,
something
bro.
for a while now, and I wanted to give him an opportunity to say what he was going to say.
All right.
What's happening?
We formally apologize.
Did you have something down there?
Me?
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, like my mind's all over the place right now because a lot of stuff has happened within the last couple of like an hour and a half since I left my friend's house to come back home. A couple of things have happened, some good stuff and some crazy shit that went down, and I'm just kind of like in my own head right now. I'm sorry, like, I'm not. I feel bad because I'm not like fully invested right now because like I'm gonna tell you right now. I know.
A drug deal went wrong.
No, it's like something really fucked up happened, and something really cool is going on, and it kind of just like collided at the same time as I was coming home.
That's always messed up, bro.
You
don't know how to feel.
The good news. Well, I'll get back to the Goonies in a second, but like the good news is, I got offered a small role in this upcoming movie from this director. And it's called Mayday 2. It's like an airplane movie where like,
awesome.
People get picked off one by one on an airplane.
Michael Perry is going to be starred in that one.
Yeah. And he's could be in the second one and stuff too. And so is Bailing. And I was talking to the director today, and he remembered me from the premiere and everything like that of the first one because I was there. Mm-hmm. And he was always, oh, dude, I had this idea for something for you to do in this one and stuff. I'm like, okay. I'm sure it's gonna be like probably a couple lines and kill me off and stuff, whatever. I was just like, cool, that's fucking cool news as I'm on the train. Right. But I come home, I'm not gonna tell my family this because it's gonna freak them the fuck out. Okay, I'm not gonna tell them this.
Yeah, well, no one's watching, so.
The thing is, I got a letter in my mailbox today, like my home address. And it was a letter from a troll that found my home address. Not my P.O. box, but my home address. It was just saying shit like, fix your teeth, wear some different kind of clothes, make better thumbnails for your videos. I'm just like, you spent the time to send me a letter like to my home address?
It's like some Unabomber shit.
Well, if I was to look at that from a psychological standpoint, the fact that you have inspired an individual to go to that link tells me what kind of greatness that you've achieved that has gotten him that jealous that he wants to do that. I mean, that takes a lot of effort to do all that stuff. And
who writes letters anymore?
To me, that tells me that you're much bigger than he could ever be.
That
tells me, I mean, if that were
be around our that tells me he's got to be around our age. Because who? Right?
Why? Because he's doing some Unabomber shit. He could be like 15.
Well, but like in its own, I get what Brandon's saying though. In its own way, that's kind of like the ultimate badge of honor because it's like success is measured. I remember specifically Marilyn Manson said this, but he was probably either quoting or paraphrasing someone else. It's not a unique idea, but it's with success, you're judged as much by the people that love you and the people that hate you, or in this case, the people that think it's okay to troll you or whatever. But it's like,
But the thing
you
is,
know,
all I do is go into stores and go, look, I got a Blu-ray. Look, I'm at Best Buy. You know what? I need you to not wear this shirt anymore. Stop making stupid faces in your thumbnails and fix your fucking teeth. I'm just like, at least he said like I'm at least he didn't say he wanted to rape me in my asshole or anything. But you know,
those are just whack motherfuckers that are trying to get a rise out of you. The fact that you don't acknowledge it is probably the biggest insult to them, as opposed to doing it.
If anything, I would say it's like a badge of honor, because it's like, hey, you made it, you know, because it's like, if you don't have haters, then you probably also don't have as much in the way of like real fans, because inevitably there's a...
The only thing I was like, you know, that made me go, what the fuck, that it wasn't at my P.O. box. It was
that's weird and creepy. That's like some pretty mystery for me shit.
That's the only thing. Because my P.O. box is out there now, but like not, you know, I don't know.
Well, I mean, that would be unsettling as well, you know.
Actually, the contents of the letter at least tell me that at least it doesn't sound like, and I've seen a lot of this stuff in my work. I won't say where I work, but I work in enough that I can say that a lot of that content at least doesn't give me any red flags as somebody that might actually do physically harm. I think.
Oh no, I'm not worried about anything like that. It's just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, tell me, like, you don't like the way my shirt is or what clothes I wear. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
that's why they're all on your body. I mean, I don't see the problem.
That's why I'd be like, you know, that's a badge of honor, because it's like, you know, oh, look at that, my first troll letter, and they don't like this and that. I'm like, okay, you know, it's as simple as that.
Put it on a wall of shame and be
why
like,
not? You know,
this was my rise to the top, and this was my first hate mail back in like 1970 something.
I mean,
like I'd get like a gallery for them. Like, and
but the thing is, over the years, I've always gotten weird like phone calls to not just this house, or you know, like different apartments I lived in, and people even prank called me when I used to work at Blockbuster when I was doing YouTube videos back then. Before, like, even now, I'm not really anything on YouTube. You know,
to be fair, bro, I'd have probably prank called you when you were working at Blockbuster. So everybody had their idea of entertainment back then.
Now, do explain to the children in the audience what a Blockbuster is.
The key to a good prank call, kids, is that you have to be committed to the role. You know, it's much like acting, except the payoff is a sweet fucking laugh. You know.
No, but when since we're talking about the Goonies, we'll get back to that right now. There's a story I want to tell you about the Goonies, because it's something I was like a baby and I don't fucking remember any of it. But my dad told me a long time ago when I was a kid, he was friends with Ann Ramsey, the Grandma Fratelli or whatever, Mrs. Fratelli. And there was a night or two where she babysat me at her house. You know, back in the day when I was just like, like I was pissing myself and all that. And kind of like how I did last night or whatever. But then, like, you know, it's just kind of cool that he said this, but then I'm just like, I have no knowledge of it. Never fucking, don't have pictures. There's no pictures of me as a baby with her or anything. I'm just like, is it true? Was this all bullshit? But like, it's kind of cool because I've always remembered him saying that to me.
I've heard he's a really nice person in real life. And I always loved her in like, we talked about her in the last discussion with Throw Mama from the Train, and which was my first. Which was my first second exposure because of the Goonies, but and of course the video game had her in it.
Well, and you got to think about it. When the Goonies came out, it also set the precedence for like a bunch of kid boys getting together and having just a blast together. Sometimes in a group. Having a clubhouse,
a bunch of like gang-oriented sort of like kid adventure movies.
This movie
gangs, not like bad gangs.
Exactly. Like a Monster Squad gang where you have like a treehouse where you don't like girls, and like a fucked up gang.
Well, I mean, with the Buttercream gang and
that was one I did grow up with. And it's also worth noting as well. I think we kind of hit and glanced this topic, but I meant to mention when we were talking briefly about Spielberg's influence and whatever, and the way this film itself had kind of a nostalgia vibe already. Like Spielberg has always been kind of a master of that. Like that is one of his things, is the ability to create something that's fresh and new, but that taps into your nostalgia for things. And he probably never really did that more than, of course, in the 80s, one of the things I did grow up on were the Indiana Jones movies. And they were directly a nod to the serials of the 30s and 40s. And they captured that vibe while still being these timeless classics. So there's definitely a little bit of that feel to it as well.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt. Speaking of Spielberg, I know this is gonna probably, if you guys don't want to go this direction in this conversation or anything, just tell me. We'll change the direction of things.
We're open minded, baby. You just do whatever you want. Okay.
What do you guys think about Spielberg and how he may have been on that Epstein's list and visiting that island?
Well, let the facts come out where they may, and then we'll deal with it as it comes.
Yeah, here's pretty much how I weigh down on that.
You got to keep in mind. You guys got to keep in mind because there's some weird shit that that's kind of that's going on with him that you guys. I don't know if you guys know or not, because I don't know if he's as perfect as we all want him to be from like all the movies he's made, all the magic stuff that we love that he's done. And to me, I don't know.
Isn't as great as people make it out to be. I'm
not sure.
Well, I know he's not perfect.
Yeah, no, I don't think
no one was perfect. Even though we know that J.J. Abrams kind of got some guidance from Spielberg, and people of that nature. I mean, even what is it? That Matt guy who's supposed to be doing the Batman coming up.
But
White House made me take notice of that, dude. But
what's that?
Let's be real here, okay? The way I've always thought of it is this: like, I'm not gonna retroactively hate shit that I loved because the dude turned out to be a scumbag. Okay, he's like one of many people in the equation. Right, he's one of many people in the equation that just so happens to really friggin' suck. Like I'm
highly
sorry
doubt
that dude did whatever he did, but there's like a billion other people that were involved in that movie that still make it a good movie.
Well, that's always been my point.
I'm never going to hate the Goonies or anything Steven Spielberg did just because of whatever, but like it's just strange to me because I recently found out a few weeks ago that his daughter does porn. Why would Steven Spielberg's daughter not go try to be if she wants to be on screen, be in a movie? Spielberg would put her in something, or put somebody that would put her in something. Why would she go suck a dick on camera for?
Maybe she's trying to get.
Because she darn well wants to.
I mean, can we wager that? Can we just throw the obvious answer down on the table real quick before we do anything else? Maybe she fucking liked it. I
was gonna say. I mean, people go into porn not always because they're like destitute or whatever.
I've considered
some of them. Well, some people they go into it. Some people so apparently it's something you kind of fall into, but it also like people don't like they're not like in the gutter somewhere and then they go into it. It's like they. There are a lot of people who they get into it and they're perfectly happy and they're, they carve out a niche.
One of those jobs. It's like being a barista or something. It's probably fun for the weekend,
Well, or like
one day rolls around, you're kind of rethinking your shit.
I'm thinking of like Stormy Daniels, how like because I read her autobiography. It's a really great autobiography.
Yeah, you
did. No, I'm serious. It's a great autobiography. You should check it out. But it was one of those things where she sort of fell into it, but it was something that she never felt like, dehumanized or anything. Like she always kind of took charge of herself and her, ability to express herself on camera to where she would like write and direct her own stuff and achieve some kind of degree of power and influence in her world.
Is, there's a little bit of a difference between Spielberg's daughter and
I
Stormy
know there
Daniels.
is.
You know
I
what I
know
mean?
there is.
Spielberg is like one
I
of the
think there's a world of difference between
Well,
those.
like I
Well,
said,
but I
like,
guess
like
what I'm
Spielberg's
trying to get back at him.
an iconic director, and you know what I mean. Like, why would you know what I mean? Like, she obviously doesn't need the money, so she's obviously like mentally fucked up, and you know what I mean. Like, is it because of him? And like, did he do something?
I think that's kind of trying to connect the dots in a way that doesn't necessarily jive with the evidence that is at present. Now, it could very well be that, but it's like there's too little evidence that's actually verifiable. I mean, that sounds just like conjecture at this point, but
But then why would she do that and like risk her father's career and what he's built on like sucking a dick or whatever she's
well,
doing?
I doubt that she's using her
Maybe she
birth
likes it.
name.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna
Back to
say.
that.
I mean, people. Well, I mean, look at like look at like the Osbournes kids, how they were like really off the rails on a crazy train of their own, during the years of the Osbournes. But then they seem
You know
to
who
have.
never went off the rails on a crazy train?
Well,
The
but they
Goonies
seem
kids.
they seem to have stabilized now.
Just saying.
Despite having come from additionally from a place of wealth and influence, they did really seem like they were going off the rails, and then they seem to have all kind of been brought back from the abyss. And so it's one of those things where and the Osbourne were like a notoriously like crazy family, like unabashedly so, and yet if they can kind of stabilize, and it's like, well, I don't know anything about this person, but for all I know, she could be kind of carving out a niche for herself in this world. And I don't know if it's necessarily coming from a place of victimization, is what I'm saying.
It could be.
individual.
Like, and it's all just it could be, but it's like that's my point. Is that it's all just speculation at this point.
They were saying
Hannah
certain
Montana.
things about.
So I understand you've visited
So
some historical Oregon sites in your quest for Goonies. What, maybe? Tell us about it, boy.
Yeah, a
Let us
couple
know.
months ago, I went up to Oregon with my friends, Fluffy Gamer and OGP here on YouTube, and we went up there to visit the last blockbuster on Earth, and we did a video there, did our shit over there, which was cool as fuck. And then we went to go to the Goonies locations and see the Goonies house and the rock on the beach and all these different places. And to me, it was just like, holy shit, because I watched this movie so many times, and like being in front of the Goonies house was kind of like it felt like kind of the word surreal or whatever, but it was pretty damn cool.
Almost be a
See,
religious
I've lived in
experience.
Oregon my entire life, dude. I moved down here from Canada when I was 6 to the town that I live in now, and I've lived here all those years, and I've still never been to where you were, like right at the house,
You also saw the Stand By Me bridge too, the train bridge, didn't you?
Yeah. That was like, yeah, but
That
was like
one I've seen. That one I've been there in person for sure.
Mhm.
Very similar concepts in a way. You got a group of kids and doing it, though different feel, but it's an adventure nevertheless. I think they're great movies to kind of pair with one another. But that one,
They are.
Now and Then, also, I think that was another one that was pretty much related to that sort of, coming of age. Just group. That was a group of girls for that one, but still, a lot of.
Well, I
good
think Stand By Me is an interesting parallel just because the Goonies is explicitly kiddie, obviously by design because it's a kid's film. But like again, similar idea: a group of boys going together to discover something on a big quest in this kind of rugged
I don't
state.
see really any huge difference other than there's a dude with a switchblade at one point. And
Well, and they're also seeking a
it's the dead body
which,
thing, but they pretty much went on a quest to see a dead body in Goonies too. There was just booby traps. So.
It's very similar, but I think the difference is, Stand By Me is obviously much more heavily grounded. Plus,
Will Wheaton wasn't in there. Wesley Crusher.
That too, and that's true. But then also, it's more heavily rooted in a lot of just the harshness of growing up, which I think is what really makes it. I think that's really what makes it stand up and also just like it is so rooted in its period, but also it's such that I think the themes of it really shine through no matter what age you are. And it's also it's one of those things. It's about kids, but they're like drinking and smoking and swearing all over the place, and they're
That's how you fucking do it.
I would say that the Stephen King 1990 miniseries is somewhat rooted from that kind of camaraderie between kids as well, and it probably took elements of the Goonies to make the Losers Club, you know. So,
well, I think didn't the novella that Stand By Me was based on? I can't remember which came first because the It novel was in like whatever that was, 86, something like that.
I think it was older than that, wasn't it?
Well, it was something like that, if not that exact date. But like, I can't remember.
I read it. I need to read The Body.
Well, I think that. Well, did The Body come afterward? Point is that basic concept for a story was rolling around in Stephen King's head for quite a while during that same.
There you go.
Okay, who just coughed? Who just coughed? I don't need COVID through the phone. Come on, who just coughed?
Oh, that was me.
Is it true if you fart, COVID could come spraying out your butt too?
I wouldn't want to risk it.
I'm not sure if we can test it that way, but I feel like I would have been a good candidate for that with the people I've been dealing with lately.
A bad case of the COVID crack.
Unfortunately, if that were proven, there would be people going about trying to do that. Just, literally.
What the real question is, where do you want to take this, Brendan?
Well, would people have to wear diapers if that was the case?
Well, who knows? Hey, I already wear diapers as it is anyway. It's fun. You can poop in them.
Well, that is what they are designed for.
You did get the chance to meet a number of the cast members as time goes on over the years. I think. How many of the actual cast did you get to meet? You met Corey Feldman and Sean
Astin. Yeah, I only met two of them, and of course, Mrs. Fratelli. But that's when I was a kid, so like I don't really, I don't remember any of it. It's what my dad and my mom said. But my mom has met Robert Davi when she used to work at this cash advance place, a couple years ago. And he would come in or not come in. He would go to the store next door to like dry cleaning or some shit. And he would come in because I guess a coworker of my mom's was like friends with him. And I'm like, fuck, let me know. I want to come. I'll wait. I'll hang out all fucking day and see what happens. But my mom met him. But that's it. It's mostly the Sean Astin and Corey Feldman. I met Corey Feldman twice. Once at a random convention, and the other one was the one time I did meet him and get to talk to him and interview him and stuff.
That's kind of cool though to be able to meet him there, because I know he tends to charge a lot at conventions, so it's kind of good to be able to catch in and even talk with him a little bit.
It was cool because like I sent him a tweet on Twitter or whatever. I don't usually do that shit really that much. But like, I'm like, hey Corey, blah blah blah. I work. I'm a part of this movie you're a part of. I'm gonna be at this convention. I'm a YouTuber. Just wondering if I could maybe set up a little bit of time to talk to you, for the YouTube stuff. And it's like, yeah, man. If my table's not too busy,
you'd be surprised, man. The hospitality you get with that shit too. I got like press passes to Comic-Con the first year that I was doing YouTube. Like they just gave them to me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Good luck doing that shit now. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I was gonna say who's doing cons right now.
Yeah, no, I'm saying even if they were, they don't give a fuck.
Everyone's online these days.
Yeah,
well, it's different time.
OG movie collector YouTubers out there. The thing was you and like a couple others out there at the time. That's kind of cool.
I mean, there's people. There was a lot of people that, not a lot, but a good amount of people that were doing movie DVD related, going to the store, shopping, video, looking for movie shit in stores, before I was around, and before even some of the other people that people think started this whole shit. There was people that were doing it before us. You know what I mean? Like there were some people that made me go, fuck, I could start talking about my collection and doing shit. So like it's kind of cool. There was like OG people that weren't doing it like the same style as I do it now or whatever. But like there was people that, you know, I mean, I'm definitely not no originator of shit. You know, when it comes to when it comes to this stuff, because when I do these videos on Tuesdays, you know, going talking about new releases and shit like that, stuff I would do anyway. You know what I mean? Like I would go into these stores, like even back in the VHS days and stuff. Oh, what the fuck's coming out this week? It was always everything always came out on Tuesday. So I would go to like the family video stores and, you know, the Targets and Walmarts and see what the hell's out every Tuesday. Ever since like I started collecting movies back, like early 90s, super early 90s.
Right. You got a bunch of VHS still?
I have like 3 or 4 big boxes of VHS stuff left.
Nice. Your essentials.
I got rid of
I'd love to take a look through that eventually. You should do a video or something.
I sort of did one recently when I was making a mystery box to send to my friend Danny, Cinestalker on YouTube, and I show like little glimpses of certain ones I have left. Not everything, but just certain glimpses of shit. But you know, I don't know. It's kind of cool to go back because a lot of that stuff that's in those boxes that I have are not even on DVD yet. A good amount of them.
I had a question to all of y'all, actually. I'm moving a little bit away from the Goonies, but you know, it's all right. This again, I put this together as just really kind of a fun conversation to be had. The Goonies is something I think that ties several of us together from childhood, but not all of us. And it's kind of cool to hear something that people haven't experienced it, like at least like I had, or like even the Stand By Me. I mean, my father used to always go in there and say, "Oh, let's watch the movie with Lardass," and he always liked that.
See, I saw that a lot earlier than I saw the Goonies. Like, I saw that when I was maybe, well, actually of the age of the kids. So, like, I want to say, like, 11, 12, something like that. You know, which I find just kind of amusing that I saw that earlier. I saw a lot of stuff earlier than, you know, than other people did, and vice versa.
And I do want to make a little nod, acknowledgement to something that you said back toward the beginning. One of the movies I did watch as a kid that I enjoyed very much was Look Who's Talking. That was a part of my life. So that was a fun.
The second one was dope too.
I didn't get to see Who's Talking until I was like in my late teens. It wasn't until one of my friends.
See, I was a little fucking kid when I saw Look Who's Talking, man. That bathroom scene will mess you up. I mean, it's like
I think that came out
in Home Alone. Like, it makes you.
That came out what, 88? I think 88 or 89. I know Home Alone was 91. That was another one.
I never look at Bruce Willis's voice the same way again. I'll tell you that much.
Too little to like put it to. I hadn't seen Die Hard yet, you know. So
yeah, Die Hard was one I didn't see until much later. I've seen it now a couple of times. It's a good movie, but I did not see that until probably college.
Yeah, Die Hard has always been the shit to me. I've always like loved those. At least the first 3. You know what I mean? Yes. Like after the 3rd one, I don't really give a shit about the 2.
I think now
all the way through. I can't bring myself to do it.
I think even now I've only seen the first 2.
I don't know. I know SeptumSin knows this, but it was really kind of crazy because there was this one time I went to this like little screening, like 35th anniversary or 40th anniversary or whatever screening of Die Hard at this local theater. And they had a couple of cast members there, and the writer or whatever, one of the writers of the first one, and like Reginald Bell Johnson, the guy that played the cop in the movie trying to help out Bruce Willis. It was also Mr. Winslow and Family Matters.
Winslow, yeah.
And it was, I don't know if you guys have seen the video, but it was insane to me because I got to meet him. He signed my shit along with the people that were there, Mrs. McLean or whatever, and. He signed my stuff. I got to interview him for a couple minutes, talk to him about stuff. But then after after the show, you know, me and my friend Jose were leaving, and then he was out back going, "Someone stole my car." Like his car got towed or stolen or some shit. And like I videotaped the whole fucking thing. Well, not like every single second, but like it was cool. It was weird at the same time because me and my friend Jose gave him a ride home. He was chilling with us in the car for like I don't know, an hour. we were just talking about random shit, weight loss and movie stuff and like all sorts of shit. It was like the weirdest experience I ever had, but it was the coolest shit too at the same time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Those are
It's
usually
fun.
good ones.
It's fun when you get to hang out with people like that in a semi-social setting. Like
Yeah.
probably the closest I've come to like a social interaction. This is not like I mean, Reggie Vell Johnson's not like necessarily a home name, but to people in our generation, like I mean, again, Die Hard, Ghostbusters, I believe he was in, and then of course Family Matters. That would be a big thing. Like this one's more me being from Richmond. That we have a local group, Carbon Leaf, that I'm a huge fan of, and I got to chill and watch a band with them once when they were the opening act. I hung out with them during the second act. That was really cool.
Yeah.
But the closest thing with like the movie stars, this was a TV one that I didn't get to see because we weren't allowed to watch Fresh Prince. It was not suitable for us when we were kids. But
What?
But when we were kids, my brothers and my dad and I did a day on Major Payne, and we spent the whole day with Karen Parsons, and she was the kindest, sweetest person. She was really cool. She was definitely not the dingbat that Hillary is. She was just really cool, but we didn't know who it was. So that was kind of fun. But looking back, it's like I would have kind of liked to know.
There's something. There's one thing I regret when it comes to me meeting certain people throughout the years. Like, because I've met a couple of really cool people that were like, there's certain people that are like kind of like super big stars, at least to me, that I'm like, I'm fucking talking to them right now and hanging out with them at parties and shit. I'm like, what the hell's going on? One of them was Jeff Goldblum, where I got to do a video with him and stuff like that. Cool. And he signed my Jurassic Park. It was just like, like 5 minutes, maybe a little less than that, just talking to him for a minute at this venue. He was like so fucking cool. But this other thing, I regret so much because I probably could have got a video with him because I was chilling with him for like, I don't know, 10 minutes on a couch. Like I went to this after party. I got invited to this after party for this movie called The Last Movie Star. Because the director of the movie is a friend of mine, and I was sitting on the couch having a beer or some part. I think he might have had a wine or something like that. But I was chilling with Burt Reynolds for like I don't know, like 10 minutes on the couch, and I had a DVD in my pocket. I'm like, should I pull it out to have him sign it? Should I ask him? You know what I mean? I'm just like, should I do a video? Should I ask him to do a video? I'm like, I didn't do any of it. I did video inside the after party, but I didn't do anything with him. And I was just like, God, man. And then months later, he passed away. I was like, what? Oh, man, what?
So this was like that was like right near the end, huh?
And I got a picture and stuff with him and everything. And it was really cool because like I never really got invited to a really big Hollywood after party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
that would be cool.
Yeah. But like this is like one of those things like you have to know somebody to get you into that fucking And the director said, "Hey, we're gonna be at this place. Just tell them this, tell them this name, this name, and you'll get you in." I was just like, okay, and like Mary Lou Henner from Taxi was in there. Like all sorts of people were up in there. You know what I mean? Like Chevy Chase was in there. And I'm just like, I can't pull out the camera. There's only certain little snippets I got inside that place. Because I'm just like, I'm not putting a camera in these people's faces, thinking something's gonna happen. But like, I did get some snippets of stuff. Like my friend Thomas Ian Nicholas, for the kid from Rookie of the Year, he was cool enough to like let me get a clip in there. But like, it was just insane. It was insane to me.
Yeah.
Real
quick, it'd be still a cool thing to look back on, though. That's kind of
Just a shout out to people who comment. Of course, again, Michael McNally, thanks if you're still watching us. It's great. Of course, Jess also wanted to let us know that she was the Stand By Me was filmed only 10 minutes away from her.
And
we need like a soundboard that plays the Halloween theme when Michael comes on, just because.
I know he's like a regular.
Awesome. Yeah. Yes, he's earned it. You've earned your own theme song, bro.
And I remember that video with Jeff Goldblum. He just seems like such a laid-back guy.
Yeah, he didn't care. He was like hanging out talking to everybody. So I was just like, you know what? Why not ask him if it's cool for like a minute or two for a video thing, Right. And if he says no, he says no. Like, that's the, I mean, that's the only thing that would happen. They either say yes or say no. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to ask. Because there was a couple of times, like I said, what's it called? Burt Reynolds, I was kind of scared. Not scared, but like, no, I didn't know, like, should I I was like, fuck it. I'll just hang out, talk. And I talked to him for, like I said, 10 minutes at most. And then, I introduced myself. And then when I was leaving, he's like, "Have a good one, Brendan." Like, he fucking kept my name in his head for a couple minutes. And then, like, "Have a good one, young man. You're a kind guy." I'm like, "Oh shit." I don't know. It's some cool shit sometimes I'm able to capture sometimes on these videos,
Yeah, that is cool. And I can see how, like, and now I, of course, just know them both by reputation and everything. But, like, Reynolds seems like he would be a little bit intimidating to approach. Like, it would be sort of
he's so big, Star Wars.
But Goldblum just has this reputation, I think, of just being like this chill guy. And he certainly seems that way.
Yeah.
It's like Bill Murray or something. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
well, Murray,
actress,
you probably have to get him on a good day.
Bill Murray,
One time, my coolest like Comic-Con story pretty much ever is that one time back in the day, like when Walking Dead was in like season 1 or 2, and Boondock Saints had just happened a few years prior, I bumped like shoulders with that dude that plays not like the dude that went into Walking Dead, but the other guy.
Have any of you guys ever met?
I see. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, like, and we were both. I'm pretty sure we were both there to see Angus Oblong, because I got the whole Angus Oblong like sketch of the dad and with his signature.
You were saying,
have any of you guys ever met a celebrity and was like we're like kind of like super starstruck? Because it happened to me. It happened to me twice. Once with Burt Reynolds, which it kind of felt okay because I got introduced to him by the director Adam Ripken and stuff. But the one time I was like super starstruck. All I really did was talk to him for a minute. He signed my shit. I took a picture and I bounced because I couldn't utter that many. I couldn't fucking think straight.
Dude, I think it's more of a thing where like I met musicians first, so like I met like crazy death metal dudes that I thought were monsters, and then it's all of a sudden like, oh, this dude's just like a regular dad back behind stage, So after that, it kind of took the luster away from celebrity encounter. Like I met Brian Posehn once, too. You're that
one
dude.
of the.
But I just bumped into them, and that's so it was more organic, I guess. I bumped the dude from Boondock Saints, and I was like, you're the dude from Boondock Saints.
Dave, you were ready to talk.
I guess out of all of us, I'm one of the ones on here that has interviewed a lot of the independent people around here, and one of the ones that I was almost starstruck was when I was able to hook an interview with the director of the Giant Spider Invasion, and I was able to have my buddy Dustin on with me, and I was using Zencaster at the time, and unfortunately, I still have to put the audio together, but I was still starstruck because he was so used to doing phone interviews, and my thing was on a computer to audio, so his computer took a crap, and he had to go and get a totally different computer from a student of his just to go do it, and he took the time and he did it with me. It's just right now the audio kind of sounds like it's out of syncopation.
Hey, there you go. But the point is, like, can you imagine how bummed he'd have been if he told him he could just do it in Skype now? Like if he went back in time.
I mean, Dave got me on with the interview with the director of Slime City, and that was just that had me. Because he was such a nice guy, and same thing with what's the guy who did the? It's sad that Brad Sykes. Brad Sykes is an amazingly nice guy. I mean, the guy who created Camp Blood. That's just like freaking
right.
Yeah, Dave showed us pictures of a lot of cool people on his.
I would have been. I would have been
Stanley.
I would have been starstruck there.
Well, I'll tell you what. So this was back in 2015. He came to Charlotte's Heroes Aren't Hard to Find convention, and he had to get the 3-day pass to get the photo op. The photo op was actually the least expensive option And I was like, well, could I get an autograph or could I get a picture? And I was like, a picture is going to be worth 1,000 autographs. And just because I will know that I was physically there in the presence of greatness. And the line was long, but it actually moved relatively fast. And you basically got like a max of like 10 seconds with him. And, so I did the Spider-Man pose there. And, that was...
Show me your Rangers set.
Oh, I will. That's next. But
Okay.
yeah.
Hey guys,
So like, but the point.
Yeah. What's
what were you saying, bud?
Since we're on, sorry to disrupt you. Since we're on the topic of what's it called damn it, what's it called again? When you, like Stanley, you met him.
Being starstruck.
No, not encounters. Like when you have to, like, celebrity photo ops at conventions.
Yes.
What do you guys think about that? People having to pay an extra fee
I don't know,
walk
man.
up to somebody and take a picture.
I would say
I intended Comic-Con for 10, 12 years almost, and like total. Yeah, I went to a lot of conventions, okay, and they're paid well to be there. They get like, they're already paid like a base fee to even fucking show up, So I've been to conventions where it's like I've seen people that now charge $150 for a photo op that used to do it for nothing,
There was
at the same time, if they literally like they just do that to bilk you for cash, it feels like.
There was it was only on 3 episodes of The Walking Dead, and she was charging like $200 per photo.
Well, that's just exorbitant.
That's ridiculous.
When it's like
I think a lot of the time it just depends on their management.
When it's William Shatner, they'll charge you $175 for like a photo op with fucking Captain Kirk or whatever, and it's like, yeah, people that are, no offense, desperate nerds are gonna pay that shit and go see that.
People that generally.
The thing is that I just gotta tell you this because my phone's probably gonna die in the next like 2 or 3 minutes because it looks like my shit's dying. But like, the only thing that sucks about these fucking photo op things is that they all suck. Because all you're doing is standing in front of a fucking background that like you would stand in front of like when you go to a high school dance.
Yeah. It's a fucking social media photo.
Well, but
your phone is about to
if
die.
I'm gonna fucking pay $200 for a photo with Stan Lee, I want to be riding a goddamn unicorn, and I want him on my back like Baby Yoda.
I only ever paid once for a photo op, and that was for Christina Ricci at her very first convention. Because I didn't know at the time if she was ever going to do them again. Because when celebrities do conventions for the first time, some of them get weirded out and never want to do them again. And I went up to San Jose to meet her, to do that, to meet her, to get meet her and all that shit, see her panel and shit. And it was cool and everything, but it's just kind of like,
that is a cool
did I just pay an extra $80 to stand in another line to get a fucking picture later?
Right? Like, I love the person, I love the work, but at the same time, goddamn, did I just get fucked for money?
I'm too busy trying to pay for my own collection, let alone try to pay for a photo with like what, one signature.
Well, I did what I did with Stan Lee because, as I correctly predicted, he wasn't that long for the world. Yeah. Well, I was like, if I don't do this now, I'll never get a chance to do it.
It's like getting a fucking picture with Disney. Like, no one's gonna criticize you for that because, of course, you did.
Well, but my point is, I stood in the presence of greatness for like 10 seconds, and it was like I was abducted by aliens, and I lost time because my brain went fuzzy at the time, and I was sort of like, did that just happen? And it.
Of course,
that's largely how I feel during most of these discussions.
Of course, just remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
So,
true.
One more thing to say before, just in case your phone does run out. I wanted to first off get the chance to thank you for taking some time with us.
Oh, no problem, dude.
It's
thanks.
To me,
I'm just sorry I couldn't. I'm sorry you couldn't do it on a Tuesday because I think that's what you told me is you normally do it on Tuesdays. That's when I do that my hoarding up thing. So I'm kind of like out there, going to the stores, doing the video, and then coming home, editing and uploading the thing, and then trying to share it. All that stuff.
You and Brandon should definitely get together with Kotobuki Jake down there, being all cute in the corner, not saying anything. Look at me. I want to. Your forehead is broad. It's charming. I want to kiss it. These dudes for real love this shit. So if you want to do a video with a couple of guys that would help you out, help all them out too, definitely fucking hook it up with these bros because they're good dudes.
Do any of you guys live in California? I don't think you guys do. Do you?
I live in Oregon, man. I'm right up here above you.
Mo's our West Coaster.
I live in North Carolina, but the last place I lived was Monterey, California.
Yeah, I think me and you are the only East Coast dudes here. I don't know how long you've been down here, but
and I'm Midwest. I live in Milwaukee. So.
Life, bro.
He's the bridge, the fart bridge that attaches us all. So if that it'd start there and then just go all the way across. Yeah.
I don't know. See, I do my own Blu-ray show called Blu-ray Views, where I try to rebuild my Blu-ray collection after having had it decimated for the sake of my treacherous ex-fiance, but now it's been built back up bigger and better than before. And I collect a lot of like controversial films that I collect a lot of controversial films that may get mysteriously out of print or banned or whatever, and I don't know if that sounds interesting to you. It's called Blu-ray Views.
Well, thanks. Yeah, man.
Did you have anything that you wanted to tell everybody about? We don't have a wide one here, but later on, I'm sure we'll get some views later on. But anything that you want to throw out there for people? I mean, again, if y'all haven't subscribed to his channel, if you like anything that you see on this channel, he does it better than we do.
I know my editing skills aren't the greatest.
Well, despite your protestations, you're kind of a living legend in the Blu-ray sphere.
Yes.
What?
I said, despite your protestations, you're kind of a living legend in the unboxing / movie sphere.
Okay. Well, thanks for the nice words, sir. But
well, I think so.
I appreciate this, man.
I did have one question, though, and this could go out to everybody, but definitely, I am a collector of physical media. If you can't tell, this isn't a picture. And there's a lot of actually, come to think of it, there's a lot of physical media behind most of the people here, and Dane has his own collection hidden. It's behind the wall.
You can't
behind the wall with the chainsaws, right?
So when you've ever gone over to a person's house and they got like a collection or a small one, have you ever found yourself just going over and looking at their collection and say, I wonder what they got? And just
oh yeah,
I do that all the time.
Well, to me, not as much because there's only two people I know from the crew that I mean my friend circle that I do stuff with that are kind of have some sort of collection. That's my friend Frankie. That's in my videos every once in a while. He has like a lot of collection of like really rare toys and shit, and not a lot of movies, a good amount of movies, but more like rare toys like Quentin Tarantino action figures. He has a fucking Turbo Man doll in a box. Like, he has like all this crazy fucking collector stuff. And my friend Aaron, he has a nice little cult section, different stuff in his house. But other than that, dude, there's like a lot of my friends. They're not as crazy collectors as like we are or I am or anything like that. They're just like basic movie people. But I don't think I've ever been to anyone's house that made me go,
but I think what Brandon's saying, like, I feel drawn. Like, if I walk into someone's room and I see their movie shelf, I just wander over. It's like I'm almost drawn to it, like I'm curious what they've got there, And usually, you're right. Usually, it won't blow you away because usually it's like what you can see over my shoulder there. That might be what your average person would have, So it's like,
a couple of boxes of Titanic in the back, stuff like that.
Because a lot of people's houses that I've been
camera flying around or anything like that.
Yeah, no, you don't see wild cameras at most people's houses.
A lot of people's houses I've been to, like friend wise or just acquaintance wise, like they all have just like the basic shit. You know what I mean? Like the American Pies or like Titanics and like the real Hollywood stuff that's not really. It's just common as shit. You know, it's stuff that you would see at the local Goodwills all the time.
Yeah. It's probably where a lot of them got it.
Well,
Yeah.
Hell, I got a few things from Goodwill.
No, me too. But you know what I'm saying? Like, not everyone is all weird. Like, has the big camera sets or like all the Scream factories of shit. Like our crazy asses. They're like SeptumSin without his anime stuff.
You see that one stack right against the corner of the wall?
Is that your porn?
That little stack is all Criterion.
No.
So that's kind of just an example.
Well, look, there's a pinhead up there.
Yeah. That thing's pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, that's the UK Arrow exclusive bust.
Hey! I'll give you $5 in a chicken sandwich for it.
Does it come with a blowjob?
I'll send Gabriel over. I'll send my friend Gabriel over for like 10 minutes if you want.
And with the way the mail's moving right now, that chicken sandwich may be sentient by the time it arrives on your doorstep.
Have a live chicken.
It comes from me.
If you send over a guy named Joe, it could be a sloppy Joe, if you know what I mean.
Hey.
Up there is some of my, if I can get the camera right.
For kids.
Yeah, exactly. Why can't I? Come on. Well, I'm trying to get the camera right because you can see the box sets up there.
He's Cloverfield on us. What is he doing?
Yeah, see, like there's some box sets up there. The Power Rangers set there. That one is signed by Billy the Blue Ranger, Zach the Black Ranger, Tommy the Green/White Ranger, Jason the Red Ranger, Alpha 5, and the dearly departed Rob Axelrod as Lord Zed. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
You have a pretty cool one too, don't you? Like one that's signed by a lot of the cast.
Oh yeah, I have it's in a box somewhere with my autograph stuff. It's like some of the Power Ranger crew people were some of the people I think I first ever interviewed. Like within the first couple of years of my YouTube channel, I did a couple of interviews at Power Morphicon convention or whatever. That and like when I went to Comic-Con the first one year, like 2009 or 8 or some shit, I interviewed like Pinhead and Doug Bradley and some other like people. That I think that's the first time I ever did some stuff like that. Like I don't know.
I know it's like
cool.
It's nice to have the ability to display a lot of the stuff, and I know enough for yours, you've got like more of a cramped space for yours. It's kind of like you just gotta take what you really like and have it there. And
I gotta have all my martial art movies and shit in my room in these 2 little cases.
Right.
Well, I was psyched when that Bruce Lee set came out.
Oh yeah.
I wish they would do like a remaster of all of Jackie Chan's movies, like even the Chinese ones. Just store them as best they can and put them in like a big old set.
88 Films is doing something kind of like that right now. They're like releasing select ones, separately. They're kind of doing that, and I got a couple sets of Jackie Chan ones recently, like little box set Blu-ray ones.
Fancy Mission Force.
The what?
My favorite Jackie Chan film is called Fantasy Mission Force, and I introduced these two to that film.
That movie is awesome. Fantasy Mission Force can eat balls.
Well, send over your friend, and he might be doing that.
But before my phone dies, I have these ones right here. They're like these Jackie Chan collections on Blu-ray. I have like eight movies in each pack here. Like
nice.
The new Fist of Fury, Shaolin Wooden Man, and all Killer Meteor, all sorts of shit. Up in these Jackie Chan vintage collection. If you look them up on eBay, you'll see them.
Was the transfer very good on those? I can't remember.
They're better than the DVDs, but they're not super amazing.
Now, you asked earlier, I don't think I actually got around to answering, but you asked about being starstruck. if I ever were to meet Jackie Chan, I probably would be pretty starstruck there.
I was in the same room with him. He was like this far
Oh.
away from me, but like I didn't actually meet him because they had security guards right there and was making him go to the stage with him and Brett Ratner. I got a picture of Brett Ratner.
I've had at least 3 near misses where I would have been starstruck. But one where I went, it did go to a photo signing where I would have been more struck now than I was then. I did go to a signing that Bruce Campbell did when he was promoting Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. I loved that show, but that was the only thing I knew him from. So now I would be a whole lot more starstruck, but then they cut the line off when I was like, there might have been 10 more people and they cut the line off. And it was like, oh.
Dude, I was in premiere once called Color Out of Space. Yeah. I was starstruck as a motherfucker talking to Nicolas Cage for like 2 minutes.
I bet,
man.
I got
that would be amazing.
My shit, but then like I was just like, you signed this for me,
I would love to meet him. Yeah,
he has an odd
Richard Stanley from Color Out of Space when he just not too long ago added me as a friend. I was kind of starstruck to talk to him.
Of this group, I am the least trauma-esque person, but I would love to meet Lloyd Kaufman.
He's amazing.
When it comes to Lloyd Kaufman, I love trauma movies. Not everything. There's a lot of them that suck. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of trauma movies that suck ass. But like some of the movies that Lloyd does himself, like Toxic Avenger, Poultry Guys Night with Chicken Dead and stuff, I love that shit. But like what made me love him even more is because watching his stuff and the special features that he would do, like documentaries on like, you know, his movies like fucking Toxic Avenger 4 and like all these other things made me want to make short films. You know what I mean? Like I was like, you know what? I want to make some movies. That and like my friend Dante, who's a comedian, that kind of inspired me to make some stuff. And then the cool thing is
all these.
Cool.
Yeah. The cool thing is the cool thing is when I first started making short films, the first I don't know, I made these short films called Night Owls. And then I made 4 of them. And in 2 of them, I got Lloyd Kaufman to make, you know, cameo appearance in that shit. And I wasn't really doing big anything on YouTube yet, really. And he said, yeah. And that fucking blew my fucking mind. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You know, somewhere over here, the Night Owl set that you had.
Yeah.
Well, Lloyd was in a short film of mine called The Big Blind, which, you know, I'd love to send your way if at all possible. It's a black and white film noir throwback.
Yeah, man. Just send me a link on Facebook or something. But my phone is at like 5% right now. I feel bad. I try to charge my phone on the train a little bit, but like
that's why I'm
getting all these
messages to whet your appetite here.
I understand fully. Before I upgraded to this computer, I had to do it on my phone, and I often dropped early because that phone sucked.
So what did you say? Did Rach send you a message on Facebook or whatever?
Yeah, send me a message with a link to it, and I'll try to check it out later because I have like 5 videos I'm editing tonight, or at least I'm gonna try to at least edit and pre-upload 2 of these things, you know, sometime, because next weekend I'm doing something else. I might be going to.
What's your official page or whatever?
How dare you, sir?
Message in the private chat.
I did.
All right.
Yeah, I did.
I'm sure SeptumSin will give you a link.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was
I don't want my thing to shut off in the middle of this, but guys, it was a pleasure.
Okay. Yes, good meeting you.
And we appreciate it.
All right, guys. I'll talk
Very nice to meet you.
Definitely, man.
All right.
Well, Dave, if you want, that kind of went off the rails there. You can take this one off.
You should change the title.
But let me hold on. Let me go ahead and end this broadcast. Thank you all for coming in, and we'll see you on the next